This is Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Caloni. In the headlines, minority in Parliament demands refund of what it describes as illegal dialysis fees charged by the Kolebo Teaching Hospital. As it says, every district hospital should at least have one dialysis machine. Meanwhile, CEO of the hospital has promised investigations into the matter as he accuses the head of the renal dialysis center of increasing prices without approval.
If government sector is charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices. I mean, to match up.
Also, Electoral Commission sends strong warning to political parties to desist from registering minors. They warn the practice put the country's democracy at a major risk. Details as the Commission continued its onslaught on the guarantor system, arguing it has lost its relevance. And minority in Parliament warned 800 workers of NIB will lose their jobs and up to 4,000 households will lose their livelihoods if government push through with plans to merge bank with ADB. We have details as the minority alleged government is only planning to sell both ADB and NIB to their cronies. Prime Business comes your way at 8 p.m.
Ghana Association of Banks says prolonged court procedures allows loan defaulters to evade accountability.
There is tolerance within this environment that emboldens borrowers in a manner that when they borrow and they default, they become giants. They have money, you the bank, you are now chasing them.
It's a pleasure to have you here on Joy News Prime. Now let's take you to Parliament, where minority in Parliament are warning there will be severe job losses if government goes ahead to collapse or merge the National Investment Bank, NIB, with the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB. Government has been working over the last few years to merge both banks due to the ongoing struggles. But the minority says such a move will lead to significant job losses and up to 4,000 households destabilized. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante reports.
Government has been working to merge Agricultural Development Bank and the National Investment Bank in the creation of the National Development Bank. Government says this will help finance its industrialization and agric agenda. The minority in Parliament are kicking against the plan. According to its spokesperson on finance, Isaac Adongo, this is only part of a grand scheme to hand these two banks to government's friends and cronies.
It is clear that this is not about the interests of NIB. This is the last step towards passing through the back door to acquire NIB and ADB for themselves in a state capture. 64% of the shares are with the Bank of Ghana. So when they met them, the English will start. Oh, but Bank of Ghana, you are a regulator, you want to be a player at the same time. Why don't you divest your interests in the banking sector so that you focus on regulation? Then before you realize, somebody will appear as a strategic investor. It is they themselves.
Minority leader Dr. Kisa Latofosen is warning there will be painful job losses if the plan goes through.
Merging NIB to ADB is certainly not an option because it will come with its corresponding job losses. Already, we have issues with employment. We believe there is space for NIB to survive. We believe there is space for ADB also to survive. Ghana deserves NIB and Ghana deserves ADB. The 800 staff of the NIB, put it in this perspective, in case they lose their jobs, or in case 600, 700 of them lose their jobs. Each person, per the structure of the Ghanaian society, each person is a breadwinner of at least 5 people, household of 5 people. So 5 times 800 will give you 4,000. Okay, so we are talking of 4,000 Ghanaian citizens, livelihoods that are at risk.
The minority in Parliament have been offering solutions to fix the woes of the bank. Isaac Adongo is acting ranking member on the Finance Committee.
The problem is just sitting there. The money is sitting in the NIB balance sheet, nowhere. Contractors that NIB gave monies to do government projects. To date, Ken is not paying the monies. And as a result of that, NIB has impaired 1 billion of its loan books. You created this problem. So pay NIB contractors. And NIB will restate the 1 billion it has written off against its profit. And it will go up by 1 billion to give them 2.75 billion of equity.
According to the minority leader, Dr. Atufosen, government is blinded to the solutions to NIB's woes by its own incompetence.
Unfortunately, the economic mismanagement team is heavily incompetent, and as a result, they can't see this simple thing. Because of self-interest and incompetence, they are failing to see this. We will also come out with a private members bill to strengthen the governance of the NIB after you have done all of this.
Government currently holds a significant stake in both ADB and NIB, making it easier to go ahead with this plan. But with strong opposition to the plan by Parliament, it's left to be seen if government will continue to execute this agenda. Reporting for Joy News, Kwiku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Away from Parliament, the Electoral Commission has issued a stern warning to political parties to immediately stop buzzing minors to register as voters. The Commission says it has noted a worrying trend where so many persons below the age of 18 are registering. The EC says this has culminated in part 7,561 challenged cases. According to Deputy Chairperson of the EC, Dr. Bosman Asari, parents must also ensure their children are not below 18 years and do not go to the registration center.
I would like to use this opportunity to entreat parents to dissuade their wards who are less than 18 years old to be coerced by anyone to assume a new age and register as a voter, because they may find themselves on the wrong side of the law. Political party officials and members of political parties are also entreated to stop the practice of persuading people who are unqualified and ineligible, such as minors, from taking part in the registration exercise. We have noticed that the minors and foreigners have taken advantage of the guarantor system with the support of some members of political parties. As our key stakeholders, we expect the political parties to support us to ensure the voters register is credible, because if there are people who will benefit from a credible voters register, we strongly believe the political parties will be one of the main beneficiaries. We are stressing on this because we continue to hear of reports from our officers on the ground and see pictures, videos from the districts of minors and other unqualified persons taking part in the registration exercise. We believe this must stop, and the parties, the media, CSOs, all of us must support the Electoral Commission to ensure the lane and the passage of our new proposed CI.
When asked how the EC knows some persons who have registered as minors instead of allowing for the challenge system to work, the Deputy Chairperson, Bosman Asari, responded that for some of the registrants, it is so obvious that they are minors.
The anthropology will tell you, when you go to every country, if you live in Korea, the Koreans, they know how they grow. So we live in our part of the world, we know how our people grow. So if the one who asked the question comes to me and says he's 12 years old, I will doubt him. Because I've never seen, about 99% of the time, you will never see anyone who is a practicing journalist who is 12 years old. So I think we know how our people, we are in our countries. And that's, when you talk to the anthropologists, they will tell you. So I think we need to look at it from that angle. And I think the IPAC, the question on the IPAC, I think this is a forum for registration. So this is not the forum for that. I think somebody was saying there was a question on the guarantor system. People, 63.14% have used the guarantor system. Let's go back. In 2021, we did the registration. Out of the 17,027,000 people who registered in 2020, about 61% of them, they registered with the Ghana card. About 61% of them. That's more than 10 million. The figure was 10,259,000. This was 2020. They registered with the Ghana card. At the time, the Ghana card numbers, I'm not sure if they had done even 12 billion. But we had about 60%. So fast forward. Preliminarily, we will say that there are a lot of factors why people are bringing the Ghana card, people are using the guarantor system, which we need to get into it. But clearly, it's possible some people may not be qualified. And because they are not qualified, they are hiding under the cloak of the guarantor system to be able to get onto the register. For example, the video and the pictures we show to you, all those people, per the information at our disposal, they were coming through the guarantor system. And you saw them with some papers. Did you see that their ages had been written on those papers for them?
Meanwhile, in a desperate appeal to government, the EC wants government to release funds to the NIA to register citizens for the Ghana card so they can get their CI through Parliament. Deputy EC Chair Bosman Asari again.
We would like to use this opportunity to especially urge the government, as a matter of urgency, to provide the necessary support to the National Identification Authority to register all qualified persons ahead of the registration exercise next year. As Ghanaians, we have the responsibility to protect our democracy. The Electoral Commission strongly believes that having a voter register with only qualified persons is very central to protecting the country's democracy. We will carry out our registration exercise in our district offices and selected electoral areas next year. And we anticipate that all qualified applicants who have their Ghana cards to present as evidence of their ages and nationality. The Electoral Commission believes that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness, and we are convinced that the time is right for a system that every registrant is identified on his or her own merit, rather than another person vouching for the age and nationality of that person. We need to have the Ghana card which shows the ages, the nationalities of the applicants. And these people appeared at our registration centers to go and register as people who are 18 and they qualify to vote. So when you hear the Electoral Commission talking about the new CI, we want to ensure that those who are minors and those who are not Ghanaians do not take part in our voters registration exercise. When you turn 18, then you join us, then you can also register as a voter.
Still on politics, CDD Ghana has renewed calls for the removal of newly appointed members of the Electoral Commission's governing board. The policy think tank explained that there is always tension when an incumbent political party seeks to stay in power for a third term, and the Electoral Commission's neutrality will safeguard the electoral process. Speaking at the roundtable discussion about the assessment of election-related activities in 2023 and their implication on the 2024 elections, the Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the CDD, Kojo Asante, emphasized the Council of State should reconsider the newly appointed members of the Electoral Commission to safeguard the credibility of the electoral process.
Civil society organizations have raised concerns about the credibility of the Electoral Commission following the appointment of new members to its governing board. The Center for Democratic Development has expressed concerns regarding the affiliation of these appointees with the ruling New Patriotic Party, emphasizing the need to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process, especially with the 2024 general election approaching. Kojo Asante is the Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the CDD.
The appeal for them to resign. Yes, I think that appeal remains, because I mean, how do you resolve this matter? If we keep quiet and we say, oh, okay, yes, you can appoint somebody who is obviously, an active partisan person onto the Electoral Commission. The person who, even if you are not an active party person or you are not a party person, because that person is there, they taint the Electoral Commission. If we allow that to fester, if somebody else comes and says, I'm appointing my propaganda secretary or whatever to join the Electoral Commission, can we say anything? We can't. So this door we shouldn't allow it to open and make it a precedent.
A senior fellow with the Coalition for Democratic Election Observers, Ambassador Francis Chega, is also urging the Electoral Commission to establish a timely and transparent process for publishing detailed coalition centers and election results.
Making the Electoral Commission of Ghana establish clear legal and administrative procedures for handling irregularities by polling and coalition officials during public elections. 2, making the Electoral Commission institute a timely and transparent process for the publication of detailed polling station and collation center results on the Electoral Commission's website.
Meanwhile, representatives from the major political parties have stressed the importance of stakeholders' involvement in the electoral process conducted by the Electoral Commission to ensure free and fair elections. Director of Research and Elections for the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimakun, and the former Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Peter Boama Otokuno.
I think we must all be genuine in our thoughts and actions to discuss programs and actions within the constitution or within the framework of the law that will give to Ghana an electoral system or framework that will ensure the conduct of free and fair, transparent elections.
It is important for an independent electoral management body to conduct itself in an inclusive manner, in an open manner, so that, they can pick thoughts and ideas from various stakeholders and get the democratic processes strengthened. But from the CSOs here present and the discussions that are going on, you would realize that it is not only the fact that the Electoral Commission is non-engaging political parties, but they are also non-engaging the civil society organizations that operate in the realm of elections. And I think that is a very big problem.
The Director of Research and Elections for the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimakun, is also urging the National Democratic Congress to return to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee to ensure free and fair elections in the 2024 general elections. A report by Prince Owusu Ansan read to you.
Let's head to Tema now, where the New Patriotic Party in the Tema West constituency says it will fiercely resist any attempt by opposition National Democratic Congress to register non-constituent in the ongoing limited voter registration. Now, this warning comes after the party accused NDC of buzzing about 700 registrants to the center at Community 2 last Sunday. NPP chair for Tema West constituency, Kwesi Poku, disclosed this when President of Nyamiye Swapping Foundation, Robert Swapping, visited the center to provide hot meals to support the exercise. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
There is simmering tension between the New Patriotic Party (NPP) and the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the ongoing limited voter registration exercise in the Tema West constituency, as the former accuses the latter of bussing close to 700 non-constituents to register. NPP fears such moves could sway presidential and parliamentary results in favor of NDC in the 2024 general election. Tema West NPP chair Kwesi Poku Bosumpim says the NDC is desperate to win the seat in the area, but this can only remain a dream.
My argument is that people of Tema West should be able to decide who becomes their MP. You understand? You don't let people from outside decide for us. The original chairman was on air saying that Tema West, Ayawasu West. They've sat, he knows it in a meeting that Ashaman has over 40,000 votes more than the MPP. So they want to pass them here. Not under my watch. That one I won't agree.
In a quick response, Tema West chairman for NDC, Malam Issa Mohammed, denied this claim as he was out of town on the day. He, however, says the party had been providing transport to residents.
Now, the minority in Parliament is demanding the immediate refund of what it describes as illegal dialysis fees charged by the Kolibo Teaching Hospital. In a statement signed by the ranking member of the Health Committee, Kobina Minta Akando, he said, although there may not be enough compensation to patients who may have suffered needlessly from the hospital's earlier decision, refunds in terms of cash or an offer to provide dialysis services to offset the difference between the original and adjusted prices is the right thing to do. Some persons with kidney conditions raised concerns after the hospital published that the cost of dialysis treatment has been increased from 380 cedis to 765 cedis.
I started getting the symptoms of a kidney condition when my daughter was in the first year of university. Even getting food to eat is difficult. I have to beg before I eat. My mother, who used to support me too, is also blind now. I don't have any helper. I used to sell fish at the fishing harbor and used to get support from my friends, but not anymore. You know the harsh economic conditions now, so I have to beg before I get money for my weekly dialysis at this private facility.
First time it turned out what fishing about. Then we frame enough for phone and almost to and the crack. No, Mamma, me. It's any moment we said again, I had the alpha. Into a beer, one anyhow. The mistress and I'm in your beer. I'll be the once a week. Let me the
Let's now listen to the daughter of a 54-year-old woman who has a kidney condition.
When they closed in May, we were there, I think about a month later, or it didn't even get to a month. Then you are there, and then one person's picture will be sent. So and so has died. Couldn't get money to dialyze continuously because I think Kolebu was the cheapest place, 380 cedis at that time. Other facilities were taking 500, 550 at that time. And so moving from Kolebu, no source of income, and then you are supposed to wait 550 twice a week or 3 times a week. Most patients couldn't get it. So we've actually lost a lot of patients, both young and old. But the one I can count right now is about 12 patients since Kolebu dialysis unit shut down. Yeah.
Between May
to
August,
September. Yeah, things have been tough, and even getting money to go to this private facility. And then we were all also hopeful that Kolebu will be opening and resuming so that we go back, and then at least some of our costs to be cut. And then I wake up at dawn, and I didn't know how to tell my mother at that time, so she found me crying like early morning, and she asked what's happening. I told her that Kolebu that's the so say at least they would open and then it would save us. Because even bringing my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week, I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom. I'll call church members, I'll call friends, and then they'll contribute and I'll bring her. And so we're really hopeful that Kolebu will open and then ease our troubles a little. And then I wake up at dawn and I see the prices being shot up to 765. The first question I was asking myself is, if government sector is charging this amount, it's just a matter of time before the private facilities that we are currently patronizing also increase their prices.
Yeah.
I mean, to match up the price. So it was a big shock. It's been a big blow. The whole of yesterday, I haven't been myself, because then it means we can't go back to Kolebu. We would have to keep maintaining coming here. And my mother cannot even get the twice a week, which is affecting her some way, somehow.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Poko Wariampoma, is accusing the head of the Renal Dialysis Center of increasing the prices without approval of management or Parliament. He says the hospital will investigate the matter. Speaking on the Super Morning Show, he insisted the prices will be reviewed upward, putting into consideration the burden of patients. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
There's a process for approval of any proposed hikes in fees, which is that the unit in question would make a proposal looking at their input costs, and then this will come to management, and then would go to a process where we look at the justification for the proposed increases, and then we also look at other issues like, patients' ability to pay, and we engage other stakeholders before we then, the review proposal would then be passed on to the Ministry of Health and then to Parliament for approval, because as a public health institution, we cannot just arbitrarily increase fees. So that's the process. And so the facts are that this is a proposal that was still at the department level, had not even come up to central management. But unfortunately, there was a jumping of the gun, and a notice was put up, which, of course, in these days of social media, it even went viral before. And then that's where we are. But the fact is that it hadn't come to a level where even management had even considered and reviewed it.
But Doc, what are the facts of the matter in terms of what Salifu said to Joy News?
So that was also more or less a misrepresentation of the facts. What happens is that these items are usually shipped in from abroad, and so once the bill of lading is received, we have a process that we go through to the Ministry of Finance, through the Ministry of Health, to get a waiver of the taxes and duties on the goods. But in this particular instance, what happened was that there had been some contractual issues with the supplier, and so whilst we engaged in the trying to refine the contract and iron out the areas of misunderstanding, there was some shortage of mineral consumables. So we had to more or less cut back on the service a bit, and so that we can focus on the inpatients and emergencies, and then we asked the outpatients to utilize the other services in the city whilst we get this sorted. We looked at the cost benefits that if we incurred the demurrage that we're going to pay was actually going to offset whatever advantage we're going to get from the.
The Ghana Medical Association and other allied health bodies are pushing for the National Health Insurance Authority to absorb the cost of dialysis, or taxes on consumables should be scrapped to reduce cost of treatment.
I think it's a life-saving procedure. Dialysis is for certainly people who have renal failures and need urgent care. Otherwise, if you leave them, they are certain for death. And so if we are going to increase the price to this level, which would ensure that people cannot afford it, then it's a problem. And I think it's something we need to look at and deal with it. I am even thinking that if it is possible, we should be looking at the possibility of putting some of the costs onto the NHIS, so that at least, if for nothing at all, those who have NHIS cards would have at least some rebates when they go onto dialysis. And so I think it's the right direction that we are able to take out the taxes and ensure that at least the cost is manageable, so that we can help those who are on dialysis. In this country, renal transplant is a rarity. We hardly do renal transplant, and so a lot of these people rely on this dialysis to be able to survive, especially those with chronic renal failure. And so, yeah, I think I'll add my voice to those who are calling for those taxes to be removed, such that the price can come down, so that our brothers and sisters who are suffering from kidney diseases would be able to access this life-saving procedure of dialysis.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Caloni. We'll return with more. Please stay. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now, the Northeast Regional Minister, Idana Zakaria, has condemned the murder of a 60-year-old woman over a witchcraft accusation at Janga, near Waliwali in the West Mamprose municipality. The woman, Musa Azaratu Puana, was dragged out of a room and shot dead by two brothers after they accused her of being a witch and responsible for the sickness of their father. Now, the minister described the killing of the woman as inhumane and charged the security service to ensure the perpetrators were apprehended and dealt with. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko reports.
The incident occurred last week Sunday at around 4 p.m. when the two young men, Abila and Fatal, stormed the home of the 60-year-old woman and killed her. According to her children, the two brothers earlier on Saturday stormed the house to accuse their mother of being behind the sickness of their senior father, who they had sent to a nearby village for treatment, and warned to kill her if their father succumbed to the sickness. The children added that on Sunday evening, the two brothers, armed with a gun, returned on a motorbike to attack their mother by dragging her out of her room to the entrance of the house, where they opened fire on her. They said she was later confirmed dead at the Wale Wale Government Hospital. On Tuesday, her remains children were released to the family for burial. At the hospital, the children earlier denied the accusations against her and demanded swift justice for her killing.
The pain, I can't even explain it, or I can't even know how to express it. So I'm pleading with the security agencies to arrest them. And anybody who sees them, they should alert all the security agents so that they will come after them. So that is my announcement, because my mother, what he was to do to me, in fact, he did not do anything. He was the one taking care of my school fees and everything. And this is the case that they killed my mother. So what am I'm even wondering, second semester, what am I going to pay my school fees again?
One is, I want them to arrest him so that I jail him. That is what I want. Because the pain, I can't even explain the pain, how it is.
Musa Azara Tupuana is the second elderly woman to have been killed in the region over witchcraft accusations despite the passage of the anti-witchcraft bill 2 months ago. This latest incident occurred in the constituency of the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Hajia Lariba Zuiretu Abudu. Yet all attempts to get her reaction to this growing menace have been unsuccessful. However, the regional minister has condemned the incident as unacceptable and inhumane. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of this year's Damba celebration in Nalirgu, the minister charged the police service to go after the perpetrators to bring them to justice.
I condemn those inhuman acts. It doesn't lie with anybody to take the life of another person on suspicion of witchcraft. If we think that something has happened, we have chiefs in the communities. We can approach them and talk to them. But to take the law into our own hands, every time witchcraft is about accusation of women, killing and maiming them, is condemnable.
Meanwhile, police in Walewale have confirmed the 2 suspects are still on the run. Ilyas Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
Now, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, expresses its readiness to meet IGP over protesters' right to avoid the infringement of it when citizens want to express it through demonstration. It will be recalled that police recently arrested some protesters who were demonstrating peacefully about corruption and economic hardship. Speaking to Adom News, SHRAJ boss Joseph Whittle indicated the Commission's readiness to open or help with the issue of right of protesters so as to protect and save the image of Ghana in the eyes of the international community.
The police should appreciate, even if it's not part of their courses, train your police to know how to engage with protesters. It's important. Because there will always be protests. There will always be demonstrators. So let your people appreciate how you can handle them. 2, the critical ministries of Interior, Defense, and National Security should appreciate that Ghana is living Ghana is not Ghana. Ghana lives in an international community. And Ghana has ratified so many conventions on human rights. The international community are looking at us. So if we pour police onto the streets, beating protesters and others, we're sending an unfortunate signal to the international community. And I don't think that is what we want to do. You saw how, unfortunately, some of the international media were beaten up. And the image is sent across the world. That is why we, as a commission, we are the commission of the country in charge of human rights, and we have a duty to promote and protect the rights. And so an advisory at this stage is important on the freedom of assembly, protests, and demonstration. But of course, we are open. We are ready to engage with the IGP and his men, National Security, Ministry of Interior, on how to take forward these advisory. We are open to it.
Away from that story, power generation company Senpower says Kpone Independent Power Plant KIPP Clean Project, which has received support from other partners, aims at environmental sustainability. For these stakeholders, the initiative is relevant considering the impact of marine waste on aquatic life and a contributory factor to climate change. Chief Executive Officer of Senpower Generation Company, Theophilus Saki, disclosed this at the KIPP Clean Initiative at Sega Beach in the Ponkatamanso municipality. Tema correspondent Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
Globally, the threat of plastic and other waste to the environment cannot be underestimated, as corporate entities and individuals are putting their shoulders to the wheel to deal with the challenge. 6 partners took part in the maiden edition of the Keep Clean exercise at Sega Beach, which coincided with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's Memorial Day. These partners included Ponkatamanso Municipal Assembly, Tema Tank Farm Limited, Snon Asogli Power Ghana Limited, EcoStar Environmental Services Limited, Sun Power Generation Limited, and Sun Power Operations and Services Limited. For hours, they picked plastic and other litter polluting the beach in a bid to help save marine life and contribute their quota towards a sustainable environment. Theophilus Saki is the Chief Executive Officer of Sun Power Generation Limited.
This program that we are having, which we call the Keep Clean, is an initiative that we have put up to contribute to the sustainability and managing the environmental damage that you all see around. I mean, you see the significant rubbish on the beach. It degrades the quality of life. It impacts on the infrastructure that we have built, and so this is part of our corporate social responsibility that we are undertaking. This is part of the ways that we're working with the community and with the various partners to contribute our quota to managing that environmental challenge that we have.
Group Chairman for Sun Power, Nana Butler, added that the initiative is hinged on cooperation, unity, work and happiness.
We are power generators, but on this day, we chose that we work together not only to clean the beaches, but also with unity. You know that on the right-hand side of our plant is Asogli, which is a different ownership from China. We have Chase, which is Ghanaian, and we are in the middle. And then, of course, we have an environmental group, EcoStar, who have joined us together to undertake this cleaning up exercise. So it is cooperation, unity, work and happiness.
Human Resources Manager for Sunon Asogli Power, Bernard Bokiti, says the project is a step in the right direction as the country can learn from how others have been able to keep their beaches clean.
In our little corner, we should try to brighten the place and make it clean. Aquatic life is very important, and we need to keep the sea clean. I mean, you go to other parts of the world and you see how their beaches are. It's something to behold, and we need to have a conscious effort to make sure that we also clean our beaches, not only our beaches but our homes, to make the place clean. So I think it's a good cause. It's not going to be a one-day wonder. We're going to continue to push the campaign and make our place much more a better place to live, and make aquatic life also much more better.
For Head of Finance at Sun Power Operations and Services Limited, Shmuel Butler, Keep Clean is a way of leaving behind a better world for the next generation.
For all of us as citizens, as individuals, being cosmopolitans of society, we must make it a commitment to be part of this initiative of keeping the world clean. We're faced with environmental challenges. We all know about global warming and all the issues surrounding the environmental challenges. As a father having kids, I think of what I will leave for my kids as well when I leave. So it's not just a company commitment, but it's a personal commitment as well to ensure that I am leaving the place or the planet clean enough, or a little cleaner than it was yesterday, for the future generation.
Some volunteers, including children, have been sharing why they decided to be part of the exercise.
I came to the beach with my mother and we want to keep Ghana clean.
Okay, so I decided to join this because I have a passion for protecting the environment, and as an environmental officer, I took it upon myself to join this social responsibility to protect the marine environment.
I'm with Sun Power Operations and Services, and then I could be somewhere chilling or anything,
anything, but I mean, this is social responsibility. I think all hands should be on deck with this particular issue. We should keep the seaside clean and everything.
We've had companies in this enclave come together just to put our efforts, our team together, and then achieve this great feat. We are cleaning the Sega beach. It looks quite filthy, but then when we came in, we've put in so much work, and it's looking beautiful, and it feels very fulfilling.
Meanwhile, the partners revealed that the exercise forms part of their sustainability plan, as other initiatives in the pipeline will tackle both micro and macro factors.
We'll take a break. We'll return with Showbiz. Stay with us. Welcome back. Faustina is in studio with Showbiz.
Yes,
Tell us what we have.
Hi, Carlos. You're looking sharp, though.
Thank you. And you're looking sharp, too. I like your shades and all that, and the smiles, and yeah.
Okay, let's do the news.
Okay.
Start blushing on air. First of all, we're starting with Wendy Shea. For me, this story is quite emotional because if you've ever been in any car accident or any car crash, you resonate with her feelings and her emotions. Now, you recall a few weeks ago, news broke that she was involved in a fatal accident, and thankfully she survived it. She's been given details what actually happened. Let's listen to her.
This accident, where were you going?
I was going home. I had finished creating the content to promote my new song, Every Man Cheats, and then I passed by my label mate, Kiki Marley, just to say hi, you know.
Is she still around? Yeah, she's still with Rocktown?
She is, you know, just to help her with her content as well.
Okay.
And then on my way home, all of a sudden, you know, I had to branch to my junction, and all of a sudden I felt like a big push, and I almost lost control. But,
oh, you were driving?
Yes. And I remember all I was screaming was Jesus, because it happened so fast. I didn't know what was going on. And then I entered into a gutter. So that was where I realized, okay, I think I'm safe. So I didn't even realize when my head hit the dashboard. But all of a sudden, I realized that I was blacking out. And so they had to rush me to the hospital. I survived a nasal bone fracture. Had my face everywhere was swollen. Hey. So right now I'm good. I have a little this.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I covered it.
It's covered with a spectacle.
With a spectacle, and I mean, I've for what happened, the kind of accident that happened, it was very severe and serious. For me to be here, it's by God's grace. You know, it's actually funny to me. That's why I'll say it once again. Those who wanted to kill me, they know themselves. They know themselves, and they're trying to put it on bullet. It is not bullet. They know themselves. It wasn't like a normal attack. It wasn't a natural. No, it wasn't. Because of... I mean, I had an interview where I was saying... I was actually advising young musicians who want to get into the industry, you know, who wanted to do music like I did, that, hey... music is not, the music industry is not just music, for passion. You should actually take your spirituality serious because it's really dark. And after that interview, about 2-3 days later, I had this accident. How can a big tipper truck hit a Wrangler? People are saying, the Wrangler is strong. Okay, whatever. But the tipper truck rather somersaulted.
Hey.
Yes. The tipper truck rather somersaulted, and the car was totally condemned and, conquered. I feel like it was more of a David and Goliath fight. Because how can you come and hit me and I'm still standing and you having your tipper
truck. The hitter is rather falling.
Yes, and then it was loaded with rocks.
Hey.
Yes, that is how serious the accident was.
Interesting there.
Interesting. You see, I feel like it's simply the grace of God for her to be alive and kicking. Let's put aside the rumors about the plots in her life, but this is actually a testimony. So let's do something to put smiles on your face.
Okay.
Wait, are you a SAC native or a BIM native? Which?
BIM.
Ish.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what's up. Anyway, so the BIM native president officially has a new music video out featuring Angelique Kidjo. It is awesome. Well, let me stop talking. Let me.
All right. Beautiful.
Great song. I love the music video.
Do you understand Manoji?
No, I don't. Teach me.
It's inspirational. I'll keep on trying.
That's so
I'll keep knocking.
Yes, so as we wrap up the show, let's keep trying.
Exactly.
Let's keep making it happen.
All right. Thank you so much, Faustina. So that's it for Joy News Prime. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more. My name is Carlos Caloni. Prime Business is up next.